Perhaps many mornings you've woken up and felt your legs trembling, your steps unsteady, even a little anxious about standing up from bed. Most people assume this is simply a natural part of aging, that weak legs are inevitable. But as someone who has spent over 20 years observing, treating, and accompanying thousands of older adults here in Manchester, I want to offer a different perspective. Morning leg tremors are not always just about age. They can be a silent warning from the body about deeper changes happening inside. In fact, weak legs or difficulty rising in the morning often signals a gradual loss of muscle mass. This process is slow, painless at first, and easily ignored. Yet the erosion of muscle doesn't only weaken the body, it steals confidence, independence, and fills daily life with anxiety about the future. I've seen it countless times. Men and women who once walked briskly around London suddenly find their legs giving way, struggling to rise from a chair, stumbling more easily. Even they don't fully understand what's happening to their bodies. Don't be too quick to dismiss it as just old age. Sometimes it's the body's alarm bell pointing to lifestyle, diet, or daily habits that no longer serve you well. To recognize these signs and to act early is the first step to preserving strong legs, independence, and dignity in later life. As a doctor here in England, I've often reminded my patients, never underestimate the impact of your morning habits. Breakfast, though simple, can be the turning point for your health, yet many people skip it, thinking it's not important until weakness, fatigue, or aching muscles force them to listen to their bodies. Too often I've heard, "Doctor, I've skipped breakfast my whole life and felt fine." Or, "I just drink a cup of black tea or coffee, that's enough." But what they don't realize is that starting the day on an empty stomach or with only caffeine quietly triggers a destructive process, muscle breakdown. It's not just about the legs shaking in the morning. It's about a deeper message. Your body is asking for nourishment, for energy, for protection. And ignoring that message can quietly set you on the wrong path for years to come. Modern science has shown that after a long night's rest, our bodies have already used up most of their stored energy. At that moment, the brain, vital organs, and especially the muscles need fresh fuel to function smoothly. If breakfast is skipped, the body becomes like a car running on an empty tank, forced to burn its own reserves for energy. Sadly, what gets broken down first are the muscles, especially in the legs, which carry the entire body's weight, help us stand, walk, and stay balanced. Many falls, weakness, and joint complications in older adults can be traced back to years of skipping breakfast without ever realizing it. Think about it: if every morning starts with nothing but a cup of black coffee, a drink that provides no protein, no vitamins, and even dehydrates the body, then over time the muscles inevitably weaken. What begins as a heavy feeling in the legs soon turns into trembling, cramps, or loss of strength when climbing stairs or simply stepping out for errands. Even worse, many simply blame old age, quietly accepting frailty and living in fear of falling or losing independence. I will never forget the case of Mrs. Margaret, 72 years old, from Liverpool. Once a lively, quick-witted schoolteacher, she had spent decades rising early, preparing lessons and caring for her family. But in retirement, her routine changed. She grew accustomed to skipping breakfast, replacing it with a cup of strong black tea or coffee, and often ate nothing until noon. At first, she noticed nothing unusual, but within a few years her legs weakened dramatically. She felt dizzy each morning, sometimes needing to sit for several minutes before daring to walk. One morning she collapsed while trying to rise from bed, saved only by the bedside table nearby. When she came to see me, her eyes were full of worry. "Doctor, I no longer trust my own legs." This morning they gave way completely. After ruling out heart and neurological issues, I asked about her daily habits. As soon as she admitted to years of relying solely on black tea for breakfast, the root cause became clear. It wasn't simply aging, it was the silent breakdown of muscle tissue caused by long-term fasting mornings. I encouraged her to make small but consistent changes, wake up a little earlier and have a light but nourishing breakfast. A boiled egg, a warm bowl of porridge oats, or a slice of steamed sweet potato. After just 2 months, her leg strength had improved significantly. The trembling was gone, she walked more confidently, and most importantly, her spirits lifted. "Doctor," she said, "I feel like life has color again. I'm no longer afraid of my legs betraying me." Dear friends, age is only a small part of the health journey. The real key to strong legs, a steady mind, and an independent life lies in the habits we build each day. After a deep night's sleep, the body's glycogen reserves in the liver and muscles are almost depleted. If we don't replenish them, the body switches to breaking down protein from our muscles for morning energy. For the young, this process is slower and easier to recover from. But for those over 60, skipping breakfast for even a few weeks can lead to noticeable muscle loss, especially in the legs, the very foundation of independence and vitality. Scientific studies have confirmed that older adults who eat a balanced breakfast within 30 to 60 minutes of waking can regain up to 35% of leg muscle strength in just 8 weeks. So the lesson is clear. Never underestimate the power of a proper breakfast. It's the quiet medicine for your legs, your confidence, and your freedom. It's no coincidence that regions with some of the highest life expectancy in the world, like Okinawa in Japan or the Mediterranean coast, all share one simple habit. The elderly never skip breakfast. Even when the meal is modest, a boiled egg, a piece of fish, a few slices of bread, or a bowl of porridge with yogurt, it is taken faithfully every morning. Sadly, many seniors here in England tend to underestimate the importance of breakfast. Some believe it's only necessary for children going to school or labourers with heavy work, while they themselves, being retired, can simply have whatever they like or even nothing at all. But in truth, at later age, the body's ability to rebuild and preserve muscle becomes weaker. Without proper protein, vitamins, and minerals at the start of the day, the body easily slips into a state of muscle breakdown. The consequences are far-reaching: weaker legs, higher risk of falls, loss of independence, and eventually reliance on carers, walking sticks, or wheelchairs. I have met countless older people in London and Manchester who spend their later years confined indoors, not because of a serious illness, but simply because years of neglecting breakfast slowly stole away their leg strength and confidence. Others avoid breakfast for fear of gaining weight or worsening diabetes and high blood pressure, drinking only water or tea in the morning. The reality is the opposite. Eating the right breakfast actually helps regulate blood sugar, maintain a healthy weight, and reduce risks of heart attacks or strokes in later life. Many seniors cling to their morning black coffee, believing it is enough. But from a medical perspective, coffee only offers a temporary lift of caffeine. It does not provide energy, protein, fiber, or essential vitamins. Worse still, it dehydrates the body, and taken on an empty stomach can overstimulate acid in the stomach, leading to reflux, ulcers, or digestive discomfort. For the elderly, whose liver, kidneys, and digestion already work more slowly, relying on coffee instead of food only accelerates weakness, nutrient loss, anemia, muscle wasting, and bone fragility. Muscle loss in the legs is the silent thief of independence. Changing this habit does not require anything grand. From tomorrow, try waking just 15 minutes earlier and preparing a simple breakfast. It could be a boiled egg, a slice of whole grain toast, a small bowl of porridge oats, or a cup of Greek yogurt with soft fruit. The key is to eat within 30–60 minutes of waking, when the body is waiting to be refueled to rebuild muscle, especially in the legs. If you are used to black coffee first thing, gradually adjust by eating something light before your coffee. Have your cup 15–30 minutes after food. This small shift not only protects muscle but also improves digestion, stabilizes blood sugar, and helps regulate morning blood pressure. And remember, it is never too late to start a good habit. Little changes repeated every morning lay the strongest foundation for good health, independence, and optimism in later life. Let me share with you a story from my years of practice here in the UK. I still recall vividly the tale of a so-called silent thief, one that many never notice until the damage has already been done. It is the slow loss of leg muscle which may seem harmless at first, yet quietly robs older people of independence, dignity, and joy. This thief makes no noise, causes no pain, but leaves behind a heavy cost. Many people believe that illness is only a concern when there is pain, when symptoms become obvious enough to send us to a doctor. Yet in medicine, some of the most dangerous conditions do not hurt, do not give any clear warning, and slip quietly into daily life, like a thief moving through a house unnoticed until something precious is gone. The gradual loss of leg muscle in older adults is just such a thief. It does not cause pain, fever, or sleepless nights, but every day it silently eats away at strength, balance, and agility. Only when rising from bed requires holding onto the frame or walking across the garden feels uncertain do people realize how much they have already lost. Take a moment and ask yourself, have you or someone close to you noticed these signs? Waking in the morning with heavy legs and slower steps, feeling tired calves after only a short walk, sometimes trembling mid-journey, climbing the stairs and by the third step already out of breath with stiff knees. Everyday movements, standing, carrying groceries, stepping outside, suddenly feel harder, needing a hand from the wall or a chair for support. At first, most blame age, the weather, or a few restless nights. But ignoring these signals means missing the golden window to protect your legs before it is too late. Why is muscle loss in the legs more dangerous than we imagine? For older people, the legs are like the foundation of a house. The walls may be strong, the roof may be new, but if the foundation is weak, a single storm can bring everything down. Leg muscles are not only for walking, climbing stairs, or standing up. They are central to balance, to preventing falls, to protecting the joints and bones, even to supporting circulation, digestion, and breathing. When muscle mass declines, the risks multiply. Falls become more likely, reflexes slower, balance harder to keep. A small slip on uneven pavement can lead to devastating injuries, a fractured hip, head trauma, or torn muscles. For older people, such injuries often mean permanent loss of independence. Many never fully recover, confined to bed or reliant on carers and walking aids for the rest of their lives. The decline of the legs also steals something deeper: self-reliance. Without strong legs to shop, cook, or care for oneself, seniors become increasingly dependent on children, relatives, or wheelchairs. This dependence affects not only physical health but also dignity, self-esteem, and mental well-being. Many older friends in Manchester and Liverpool have told me that once their legs weakened, they stopped going outside, no longer met friends, no longer played with grandchildren. Life shrank to four walls, long quiet days, and a fading sense of joy and purpose. I still recall vividly the case of Mr. William, aged 74, from Manchester. Once a physical education teacher, he had been energetic and athletic for decades. But within just 2 years of retirement, he began skipping breakfast because he didn't feel hungry. His mornings became nothing more than a pot of tea or a strong black coffee, followed by the newspaper and minding his grandchildren. At first it seemed harmless, but slowly his legs lost strength, his steps faltered, and his once active life became shadowed by fear of falling. At first, Mr. Henry only felt a little tired, with heaviness in his legs that he brushed aside. But one morning, just walking out to the gate in Manchester to greet his grandson after school, he found himself out of breath. Standing up from his chair required effort, and for the first time he began to worry. Then came the moment that changed everything. While stepping down from the front steps of his home, his left leg suddenly trembled. He stumbled and collapsed. Luckily, no bones were broken, but from that day forward he lived in constant fear of falling. He went out less, gradually gave up exercise, and every morning woke with weary limbs and a foggy mind. When he finally came to my clinic, his leg strength measured less than 60% of what was expected for his age. "Doctor," he asked me with anxious eyes, "how did I become like this in just a few years?" It was painful, but I had to tell him the truth. The silent thief of muscle loss had crept in unnoticed. Years of neglect, skipping breakfast, relying on nothing but a strong cup of black tea had quietly drained his body of its strength. Sadly, his case was not unique. I have seen many others the same, some now bound to wheelchairs, some too afraid to step outside, some sliding into depression because they no longer trusted their own legs. The truth is, muscle loss in older adults progresses slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. There is no pain, no fever, no obvious discomfort at first. One day your legs feel a little weak, the next day you feel normal again. Only when climbing the stairs, carrying groceries, or walking on a chilly morning do you notice how much has changed. And here lies the danger. Once muscle is gone, rebuilding it becomes far harder. With age, the ability to regenerate muscle slows dramatically. The longer you ignore it, the harder recovery becomes, leaving you increasingly dependent on family, carers, or walking aids. After the age of 50, and especially past 60, muscle breakdown accelerates faster than the body can build new muscle. Skipping protein, failing to move enough, or battling chronic conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, or kidney disease only speeds the decline. Worst of all is when the body's golden hour, early morning, when it is primed for repair, is wasted by skipping breakfast or surviving only on tea or coffee. The body has no choice but to burn itself for fuel, and the leg muscles, the largest energy consumers, are the first victims. So how can you detect and stop it early? Light bulb, my advice is simple. Watch for the early signs: waking up with weak legs, struggling on the stairs, frequent cramps at night, or tripping more easily. Test your strength. Try standing up from a chair 10 times in a row without using your hands. If you struggle, tire quickly, or need help, it's a clear warning. Review your diet. If you regularly skip breakfast or eat too little, change immediately. Seek medical advice if you've already fallen or if weakness is noticeable. You may need tailored nutrition, exercises, or supplements. White heavy check mark the solution. Never skip breakfast. Begin the day with protein-rich, nourishing foods: eggs, porridge, oats, yogurt, grilled fish, or whole grain toast with a side of soft fruits. Add some leafy greens, a baked tomato, or even a portion of beans for extra fiber. Pair food with light morning exercise, a short walk around the garden, balance stretches, ankle and knee warm-ups. And don't forget hydration. A glass of warm water with a pinch of minerals helps circulation and muscle health. These small habits, practiced daily, can protect your legs, keep your independence, and give you the confidence to move freely well into your later years. Make it a habit to enjoy a little early sunshine, just 10 to 15 minutes each morning, to help your body synthesize vitamin D, which strengthens calcium absorption, protecting against osteoporosis and muscle loss. And don't forget regular health checkups. Listening to your body and seeking your doctor's advice at the first sign of change can make all the difference. My friends, your legs are the very foundation of independence, dignity, and joy in later life. Don't let the silent thief steal away your strength simply because of overlooked habits like skipping breakfast, avoiding exercise, or replacing a nourishing meal with nothing more than a cup of strong black tea. Every small change today: eating a wholesome breakfast, gentle stretches, walking daily, drinking enough water, and catching that morning sun will help you keep your legs steady, your spirit strong, and your life independent, healthy, and fulfilling. Over more than 20 years in practice here in London, I have met thousands of older patients, each with unique stories of struggle and hope. But one truth is constant: too many only realize the true value of their legs, their confidence, and their independence after they've lost part of it, often following a simple fall or months of neglecting breakfast. It reminds me of Mrs. Mary, a 72-year-old woman from Manchester, once lively, sociable, always ready with a smile. When she came to my clinic, her steps were unsteady, her eyes clouded with fear. "Doctor," she whispered, "I'm terrified my legs won't hold me anymore." That morning, she had tried to rise from bed but lost her balance, falling with a thud that left her shaken and breathless. Her fear was not from pain or disease itself, but from the sudden betrayal of the very legs she had trusted for decades. When I gently asked about her recent habits, the truth emerged. She often skipped breakfast, relying only on her morning cup of tea, thinking that at her age simple food was enough. This is a pattern I see all too often. Irregular meals slowly push the body into a state of catabolism, eating away at its own muscle, especially in the legs. Step by step, strength declines, making it harder to rise from a chair, climb stairs, or walk confidently. The fear of falling grows, and with it a loss of freedom and self-assurance. Every morning you wake to legs that feel shaky, every step feels uncertain, like treading on thin ice. Your risk of falling multiplies. And the consequences are not just physical. A broken bone or long recovery is one battle, but the hidden earthquake is psychological. Fear creeps in. Seniors retreat from social life, avoid outings, even resist visits with friends. I remember Mr. George, 74, once the proud owner of a carpentry workshop in Liverpool, whose strong hands and sturdy legs carried him up scaffolds for decades. But within a year of retirement, he too fell into the habit of skipping breakfast and staying sedentary. Slowly, standing unaided became a challenge. Climbing stairs demanded pauses. One afternoon, he tripped in his own garden. From then on, he withdrew, declining visits, refusing trips to the market, living only within four walls. What haunted him most was not the physical ache, but the crushing feeling of losing control over his own life. He once told me, "I thought I was healthy, but now I fear every step I take." That fear of falling made him move less, which only sped up muscle loss, trapping him in a negative cycle. Yet there is a simple gift that can change everything: breakfast. For many older people, breakfast seems trivial, a habit for school children or busy workers, while they believe a cup of strong black tea or coffee is enough. But from my years of experience here in the UK, I can assure you, breakfast is the golden key to strong legs and lasting independence in later life. I recall Mrs. Anne from Liverpool, who spent years eating little more than yesterday's bread and tea in the mornings. She admitted that as she aged, her legs grew weaker, her steps slower, and she often had to hold onto walls or furniture for support. When I explained how skipping breakfast forces the body to break down its own muscle, beginning with the large muscles of the legs, she was silent for a while, then slowly began to change. After just a short period of eating a nourishing breakfast of eggs, porridge, oats, yogurt, and bananas, she said with a smile, "Doctor, I can't believe such a simple change has made my legs feel stronger. I can climb the stairs more easily and I feel lighter and happier." These are the transformations I witness, often small adjustments with huge results, helping seniors regain strength, confidence, and joy. And the science agrees. Clinical studies show that older adults who eat a balanced breakfast within 30–60 minutes of waking can restore up to 35% of leg muscle strength in just 8 weeks. Take Mr. George, 82, from London. By simply maintaining a regular breakfast, drinking warm mineral water, and doing light stretches each morning, he became more agile, climbed stairs without needing help, and spoke with renewed energy and clarity. Or Mrs. Margaret, 74, from Manchester, who replaced her plain toast with porridge, chia seeds, and soft fruits. She reported far less stiffness, improved endurance, and no more heavy legs each morning. Then there was Mr. Thomas, 70, who gave up fried bacon and skipping breakfast, switching instead to salmon, steamed vegetables, and sweet potatoes. His leg strength improved significantly, and his walks became longer and more enjoyable. Each recovery is remarkable, and what matters most is that these improvements came not from expensive treatments but from the patient's own willingness to change. Dear friends, health is not only about the body but also the spirit. Strong legs mean freedom, the freedom to walk in the garden, shop at the market, visit friends, or play with grandchildren. Seniors who keep their legs strong continue to feel valued, independent, and connected to life's simple joys. I will never forget Mr. Richard, 75, once afraid each morning to even stand for fear of falling. Yet after just 2 months of adjusting his breakfast and lifestyle, he confidently joined a walking group in the park and laughed with friends again. "I feel younger," he said, "and I'm no longer afraid of falling." Such small daily changes lay the foundation for a long, independent, and happy later life. From all the cases I have treated, I want to share a precious truth. You are never too old to rebuild strength. Whether you are 60, 70, or even 80, with consistent nutrition, gentle activity, and perseverance, your muscles can recover. Caring for your legs begins in the kitchen. Never underestimate the power of breakfast. A boiled egg, a bowl of porridge, a piece of sweet potato, a pot of yogurt, a banana, or a fillet of fish, that is enough to start your day full of energy. But remember, nutrition must go hand in hand with movement. Light walking, balance exercises, morning stretches, and a little sunshine for vitamin D. These are not just routines. They are gifts of independence, dignity, and joy for every step of your later years. Sharing and encouragement are vital. Older adults often need not just care, but also motivation and support from family, friends, and community. Together, we can build a healthier lifestyle and spread good habits that make aging with dignity possible. My dear friends, from years of clinical practice here in London, I've realized that strong legs are more than muscles. They are the very ticket to independence. Walking to the market, visiting friends, playing with grandchildren, or simply enjoying life on your own terms. Do not let the silent thief of muscle loss rob you of freedom just because of neglected habits like skipping breakfast, sitting too long, or relying only on black tea instead of a proper meal. Start tomorrow with intention. Prepare a wholesome breakfast, stretch gently, drink warm water, and keep good habits alive. Listen to your legs each morning. Don't wait until you can no longer rise from a chair without help or stumble on the stairs before you act. You will be surprised how just a few weeks of change can make your steps steadier, your confidence brighter, and your spirit lighter. Caring for your muscles is caring for your dignity and freedom. There is one thing I always emphasize in my health talks for older adults. Something that may seem small but truly decides the quality of later life. Never skip breakfast. Think of it every morning as the first sunlight peeks through the window. Your body has already spent 7–9 hours repairing and restoring itself through sleep. By dawn, its energy reserves are at their lowest. If you don't refuel, your body begins to burn its own muscles, particularly those in your legs, to create energy. That is why so many older people wake feeling shaky, their steps unsteady, sometimes even collapsing before they've had a proper meal. It isn't just aging, it is the body quietly eating away at itself. A balanced breakfast is like a shield, protecting your legs, your balance, and your independence. Over the years, I have seen too many lose their freedom simply because they dismissed breakfast as unimportant. Let me share with you the story of Mr. William, 68, from Manchester. Once the strong pillar of his family, he used to tend his garden every morning and enjoyed light exercise with ease. But after his wife passed away, he slipped into a new routine: just a cup of coffee, a bite of toast, then hours of television until his midday meal. Slowly, his legs weakened. Climbing the stairs left him trembling. Even a short trip to the grocer required leaning on a trolley. When he came to my clinic, his face was heavy with worry. "Doctor, I fear I won't be able to walk on my own anymore." But after only a month of change, a nourishing breakfast of eggs, porridge, sweet potatoes, yogurt, and bananas, paired with light stretching and warm water, the difference was remarkable. His mood lifted, his steps steadied, and he told me with a smile, "I feel alive again." Just by eating breakfast properly, I could walk around the garden, climb the stairs with ease, and my mind felt clearer. Mr. James told me with a smile. He asked, "Doctor, what does a nutritious breakfast truly mean?" My dear friends, a balanced breakfast does not have to be fancy or expensive. It simply needs the right mix of protein, healthy carbohydrates, good fats, vitamins, and minerals. In the UK, that could be as simple as a boiled egg, a bowl of porridge with chia seeds, a slice of whole grain toast with salmon, or some yogurt with fresh berries. Research across Europe shows that people over 60 who eat a protein-rich, balanced breakfast can regain up to 35% of leg muscle strength in just 8 weeks. A breakfast filled with protein and vitamins lowers the risk of falls, fractures, and memory decline, while boosting digestion and mood. Remember, breakfast should not just be a slice of white bread and a quick cup of tea. You need at least one protein source, such as eggs or fish, to strengthen muscles. Soft porridge with bananas and Greek yogurt provides slow-releasing energy, calcium, and fiber. Steamed sweet potatoes with a sprinkle of sea salt give steady fuel for the morning. Oily fish like salmon or mackerel, or even a portion of tofu, supply omega-3s to reduce inflammation and support muscle repair. A ripe banana or a handful of fresh fruit helps maintain electrolytes and keeps your legs flexible. The key is variety. Rotate these foods throughout the week and eat within 30–60 minutes after waking, so your body doesn't slip into muscle breakdown. Small habits lead to great results. I remember visiting Mrs. Margaret, a 70-year-old from the outskirts of Manchester. She admitted that for years she skipped breakfast, relying only on a black coffee. Over time, her legs weakened and even climbing stairs became difficult. Encouraged by her daughter-in-law, she began having a boiled egg, sweet potato, and a glass of warm water with minerals every morning, followed by a gentle walk in the garden. After just 2 months, she told me joyfully, "Doctor, I can go shopping on my own again, walk with my grandchildren, and I no longer fear falling." This story repeats itself with many of my patients. Caring for your legs and preserving independence often begins with something as simple as a proper breakfast. Why is breakfast so crucial after 60? In youth, muscles regenerate quickly and the body can recover from nutritional gaps. But beyond 60, the ability to build protein declines, muscle reserves shrink, and bones age faster. Skipping breakfast accelerates muscle loss and greatly increases the risk of falls and fractures. Morning signs like shaky legs, fatigue after a few steps, or shortness of breath on the stairs are not just age. They are warnings to change your breakfast habits immediately. Some tips for an effective breakfast: prioritize natural protein from eggs, fish, yogurt, oats, or chia seeds. Include slow-release carbs like sweet potatoes, porridge, or whole grain bread. Add vegetables and fruit for vitamins, fiber, and better digestion. Avoid breakfasts of only tea, white toast, or greasy fried food. These make you sluggish and raise metabolic risks. Eat at the same time each morning to keep a healthy rhythm, control weight, and prevent chronic illnesses. Small choices at breakfast led to a lifetime of freedom. I still remember Mrs. Elizabeth, 80, who every morning joins her friends in a gentle walk in the park after her porridge and tea. Her laughter and energy remind me, a proper breakfast is not just food, it is the foundation of independence, dignity, and joy in later life. Mr. William once told me, Breakfast feels like my ticket to freedom, a chance to step outside, walk through the garden, meet neighbors, and enjoy the fresh morning air without fear of falling or relying on my children to hold me up. My dear friends, instead of waking up with an empty stomach and trembling legs, why not give your body a small but powerful gift each morning, a balanced breakfast that suits your health and personal taste? Don't underestimate this seemingly simple ritual, for it is what allows you to walk freely, live joyfully with your family, and remain independent well into your golden years. Breakfast is not just food, it is a way of caring for yourself. Many older people in Manchester or Liverpool often say, "Oh, I'll just eat whatever is around, it's not important." But the truth is, preparing a proper breakfast is an act of self-respect, a sign of self-love, and the very motivation to stay strong and free. If you are unsure where to begin, start small. Prepare a simple, nourishing breakfast every day. Add gentle movement, a glass of warm water, and a cheerful mindset. Within just a week or two, you'll notice the difference: stronger legs, clearer thinking, more energy, and a brighter mood. Over decades of practicing medicine here in London, I've come to realize one essential truth: there is nothing more valuable than strong, steady legs in later life. They are not only for walking, they symbolize independence, dignity, and confidence. Yet these very legs are often betrayed by the smallest of habits, and the most common is neglecting breakfast. I still remember one of my patients, Mrs. Margaret, 71 years old, once known for her lively and energetic nature. But after just one cold winter, she suddenly found her legs weakening. Each morning, only a few steps would leave her breathless and force her to sit down. When I asked about her daily routine, she admitted she only had a cup of tea and a biscuit for breakfast. I explained to her that at her age, the body needs proper nourishment right at the start of the day. Otherwise, it begins to burn its own muscle tissue, especially the muscles in the legs, which bear the entire weight of the body. She took my advice to heart and began eating a more balanced breakfast: an egg for protein, a slice of whole grain toast or porridge for slow-release energy, and fruit for vitamins. 2 months later, she returned with a confident stride and a glowing smile. "Doctor," she said, "just by changing my breakfast, I can now walk longer distances, climb the stairs without fatigue, and still have enough energy in the afternoon to play with my grandchildren." This is the silent science of muscle loss, the hidden process of catabolism that slowly eats away at strength if we ignore breakfast. My friends, never believe that breakfast is only for children or those who go to work. Science has proven that after a night's sleep, blood sugar drops and the body's glycogen stores in the liver and muscles are depleted. Without proper nourishment in the morning, your body begins to consume its own muscles, starting with your legs. But with the right breakfast, protein, good carbs, vitamins, and minerals, you protect your muscles, strengthen your steps, and regain confidence in daily life. If the body is not refueled in the morning, it will slip into a state of catabolism, breaking down its own muscles to generate energy. The frightening part is that this process is silent. It doesn't cause pain, fever, or obvious signs at first. But day after day, week after week, the strength of the legs slowly fades. Eventually, standing up feels difficult, a short walk leaves one exhausted, and even a small trip on the pavement can lead to a dangerous fall. Muscle loss is a silent thief. It steals not only mobility, but also confidence and joy in later life. A balanced breakfast can restore strength to aging legs. Large studies across Europe and the US have shown that eating a nutrient-rich breakfast within 30–60 minutes of waking can restore up to 35% of leg muscle strength in just 8 weeks. This is an encouraging number, especially for those who once thought weakness in old age was inevitable. My message to you is simple: it is never too late to change. By nurturing your breakfast routine, your legs can remain steady, allowing you to shop at the market, stroll through the park, play with grandchildren, and maintain independence well into later years. So what should a proper breakfast look like? Many of my patients ask, "Doctor, what exactly should I eat?" I often recommend a plate that combines all key groups: protein, boiled eggs, poached salmon, grilled mackerel, Greek yogurt, or tofu. Protein rebuilds and protects each fiber of muscle. Good carbohydrates, porridge, oats, steamed sweet potatoes, whole grain toast, or brown rice. These provide steady energy without sudden spikes in blood sugar. Vitamins and minerals, fresh vegetables and fruits like bananas, apples, grapefruit, or berries. Bananas are especially valuable for potassium, which helps prevent cramps and numbness in the legs. Healthy fats, a drizzle of olive oil, half an avocado, or oily fish like salmon. These fats improve vitamin absorption, reduce inflammation, and keep muscle cells supple. Here is a simple sample breakfast: 1 boiled egg or a lightly fried egg with little oil, a bowl of soft porridge with chia seeds and sliced banana, a piece of steamed sweet potato with a pinch of natural mineral salt, and a cup of Greek yogurt or low-fat milk. Just rotate these foods during the week, and you will enjoy not only flavor but also the protection of your muscles and the strength of your legs. I remember vividly the case of Mr. George, 75, from Manchester. For years he dismissed breakfast, saying, "At my age, weakness is natural, eating doesn't change much." That was until he tripped on the stairs and frightened his family. His children urged him to follow medical advice, and reluctantly, he began eating a proper breakfast each morning. Just 3 weeks later, he came back smiling. "My legs don't tremble anymore. I can walk into the garden with ease, and I feel alert instead of sleepy during the day." His family also noticed the change. His posture was steadier and his laughter returned. That, my friends, is the quiet miracle of small, consistent change. A simple breakfast can revive weak muscles, uplift the spirit, and improve quality of life. Why eat within 30–60 minutes of waking? Science tells us that this is the golden window. In the early morning, cortisol, the catabolic hormone, is still high. If you don't eat, the body continues to burn muscle for energy. Eating late or relying only on coffee and white bread deprives the body of vital nutrients and accelerates muscle loss. Over time, legs weaken, energy declines, and falls become inevitable. That's why I always emphasize, a wholesome breakfast taken early is the shield that protects your legs and your freedom. Breakfast ideas to keep your legs strong. In my consultations, I often share with seniors simple, affordable, and highly effective breakfast options. A single boiled egg is a perfect source of protein, rich in vitamin D and B12, helping to rebuild muscle fibers and lower the risk of imbalance or falls. A warm bowl of porridge oats provides slow-release carbohydrates and fiber, fueling the body steadily while supporting circulation and preventing constipation. Bananas, loaded with potassium and magnesium, help prevent cramps and stabilize muscle function. Greek yogurt offers protein, calcium, and probiotics to boost digestion and nutrient absorption. Steamed sweet potatoes, though humble, are full of fiber and essential minerals, ideal for older adults. Oily fish like salmon or mackerel add omega-3, reducing inflammation and strengthening muscle recovery. I always remind my patients, it doesn't take fancy, expensive meals to stay healthy. With simple, natural foods prepared wisely, every breakfast can become a source of energy and resilience. To maximize these benefits, combine breakfast with gentle habits. Drink a glass of warm water when you wake, stretch your arms and legs, walk around the house, or step outside for 10–15 minutes of early sunlight. That sunlight provides vitamin D, essential for calcium absorption, stronger bones, and healthier muscles. With steady commitment, a balanced breakfast plus light daily movement can bring visible results within weeks. Less trembling in the legs, fewer aching knees, more confident steps, and greater joy in everyday life. My dear friends, after over 20 years working in community health here in Manchester, I've realized the goal is not simply extending life, but enabling older adults to live independently on their own strong legs. Because above all, healthy legs are companions of freedom, letting you walk to the market, visit grandchildren, tend the garden, or enjoy a stroll in the fresh air. Sadly, I have seen too many people lose this freedom simply due to small habits, especially skipping breakfast or eating poorly in the morning. Muscle weakness doesn't come suddenly. It creeps in like a quiet current, day after day, eroding strength, stamina, and even morale. You may ask yourself, I eat regularly, so why are my legs still weak? Is there a way to improve muscle strength without heavy training or expensive supplements? The answer is surprisingly simple. It lies right in your daily breakfast. From my decades of practice, I can say this: when breakfast is done right, balanced, and nourishing, it becomes the golden key to keeping your legs steady at any age. Because strong legs are more than muscle. They are the roots of an active life. They symbolize freedom, dignity, and independence in our later years. As long as you can walk confidently, even the simplest routines, making your own breakfast, watering a flower pot, strolling down the street, or playing with grandchildren, become priceless joys. But when the legs grow weak, life shrinks. At first you hesitate to go out, then you move less. Soon you stay mostly in bed or seated in one corner of the house. That is why, my friends, every small choice each morning matters more than you think. From there, the spirit often declines, the fear of falling grows, and sometimes this even leads to depression or other chronic conditions. That is why I always remind my patients, taking care of your legs is taking care of your whole later life. And that care begins right in the kitchen each morning, with a simple but nourishing breakfast. Why is breakfast so important? Some seniors ask me, "Doctor, why do you always stress breakfast when we still have lunch and dinner in a day?" The answer is that after a long night, the body of an older adult has already drained most of its stored energy. Blood sugar levels are low, muscles have been resting for hours, and if breakfast is skipped or replaced with something light and empty, the body will turn to its own muscle tissue for fuel, especially the legs, since they are the largest muscle group. This process doesn't cause pain at first, but over time it steadily weakens the legs, making them tire easily, more prone to cramps, numbness, and falls. Many in their 60s or 70s mistakenly believe this weakness is just age and overlook the real culprit, poor morning nutrition. Global studies have shown that when older adults eat a protein-rich, balanced breakfast within 30 to 60 minutes of waking, they can restore up to 35% of their leg muscle strength within 8 weeks. That is a beacon of hope for anyone wanting to stay independent without relying on gyms or costly supplements. Breakfast foods that protect leg strength. Let me share with you some straightforward and affordable English-style breakfasts that I often recommend. 1. Eggs, a true golden food for every age, especially for seniors. Eggs provide all the essential amino acids for muscle synthesis, as well as vitamins D and B12 to support nerve function and prevent muscle loss. A simple boiled or poached egg is light, nourishing, and doesn't require oil or heavy frying. For those concerned about cholesterol, you can limit to egg whites, but for most healthy older adults, 1 egg a day is perfectly safe and highly beneficial. 2. Oats with chia seeds. Porridge oats are a slow-releasing carbohydrate, rich in soluble fiber and minerals. Cook them soft with water or milk and add a sprinkle of chia seeds. The chia seeds bring omega-3, calcium, and magnesium, creating a breakfast that sustains muscle energy and reduces morning fatigue. Many of my patients have told me that after just a few weeks of replacing white bread with porridge, their cramps and morning weakness eased significantly. 3. Bananas. A natural source of potassium, a medium-ripe banana each morning helps prevent cramps and numbness, while supporting nerve signals and steady muscle contraction. For those managing diabetes, I suggest choosing a just-ripe banana or pairing it with yogurt or oats to slow sugar absorption. 4. Greek yogurt. This is a true superfood, packed with protein, calcium, and probiotics to aid digestion and maximize nutrient absorption. Taken with a few slices of soft fruit or whole grain cereal, it becomes a light but complete breakfast. My dear friends, it doesn't take complicated meals to build strong legs. A balanced breakfast with these simple foods is the golden key to independence, helping you keep your confidence, mobility, and dignity in later life. A small bowl of Greek yogurt after breakfast can soothe the stomach, support digestion, and provide amino acids to help muscles recover. For those who often feel bloated or sluggish after their morning meal, starting the day with yogurt and a handful of berries or a sprinkle of chia seeds can make all the difference. Next, let's talk about salmon and other oily fish. Of course, not everyone in Britain can afford salmon every week, but whenever possible, I encourage my patients to add a portion of salmon, mackerel, or sardines to their meals. These oily fish are rich in omega-3, vitamin D, and high-quality protein, all essential for fighting inflammation, protecting muscle cells, and boosting recovery. Lightly grilled or baked fish preserves nutrients far better than deep frying, and it avoids unnecessary cholesterol. Then there's the humble sweet potato. In the UK countryside, many families enjoy baked sweet potatoes with a touch of sea salt. This simple food provides slow-release carbohydrates, fiber, and minerals such as potassium and magnesium. When steamed or baked with natural mineral salt, whether sea salt or even pink Himalayan salt, Sweet potatoes deliver over 80 trace minerals that support muscle function and prevent cramps. Eating just a small piece 10–15 minutes before your main breakfast can gently warm the stomach, kickstart digestion, and prepare the leg muscles for the day ahead. Over my 20 years in practice, I have witnessed countless transformations from older patients who only needed one change: a proper breakfast. Many who were once afraid of falling or reluctant to leave the house became confident enough to walk down to the park, join gentle exercise groups, or simply enjoy gardening again. I remember Mrs. Margaret, aged 75, from the outskirts of Manchester. For years she believed a cup of tea and a leftover slice of bread was enough. But after switching to soft porridge with a boiled egg and a banana, within a month she proudly told me, "Doctor, I can climb the stairs without pausing and my legs no longer cramp at night." Or take Mr. James, who used to replace breakfast with black coffee. After I convinced him to try a small portion of baked sweet potato, a boiled egg, and a yogurt drink, he noticed his mind became sharper, his steps steadier, and his worries about sudden falls began to fade. Of course, breakfast is only one part of the picture. To truly protect their legs, I always advise my patients to build morning rituals around it. Drink a glass of warm water with a pinch of mineral salt upon waking to restore electrolytes and circulation. Do gentle stretches and leg warm-ups before getting out of bed to improve blood flow and reduce dizziness. Step outside for early sunlight. Vitamin D from morning light is vital for bone strength and muscle health. Practice balance exercises such as standing on one foot or taking a short walk around the garden. Real stories prove that these habits work. Those who were once confined indoors now stroll to the local shop, play cricket with grandchildren, or chat with neighbors at the cafe. The common factor is consistency, never skipping breakfast and pairing it with simple, healthy routines. My dear friends, you may think these are small and ordinary details, but in truth they form the foundation for independence and dignity in old age. Every morning is a fresh beginning. Give yourself the gift of freedom by starting with a proper breakfast. Just one egg, a bowl of porridge, a slice of baked salmon, or a piece of sweet potato, simple yet powerful. Over days and weeks you will feel the difference. Steadier legs, a clearer mind, and a brighter spirit. Your legs can once again carry you with confidence through the most meaningful moments of later life, walking freely, feeling joyful, and remaining true to yourself. My dear friends, if you only read advice about breakfast nutrition, you might dismiss it as theory or even confuse it with marketing for some fancy supplement. But after more than 2 decades working with patients across Britain, witnessing real stories, worried faces, and the relief of recovery, I can tell you with certainty, it is the simplest morning habits that bring about the most profound changes. Let me share with you a few very real stories, not polished tales, but genuine experiences of older people who once lost trust in their legs, yet found strength again through small adjustments at the breakfast table. I remember clearly Mrs. Margaret, aged 72, from Liverpool, once known in her community for being sprightly and full of energy. One morning she came into my clinic with a look of fear, not because of chest pain or fever, but because she no longer trusted her own legs. She told me, "Doctor, I stood up from bed this morning and my legs gave way beneath me. For a moment I felt as though they no longer belonged to me. The shock wasn't just physical, it was as if my confidence in myself had collapsed in a single instant." After ruling out any acute illness, I asked about her daily routines. It turned out she had long skipped breakfast, sipping only black tea or strong coffee because she didn't feel hungry in the mornings. I explained that at her age, the first meal of the day is critical. After a long night's rest, the body is running on empty. Without proper fuel, the muscles, especially those in the legs, begin to break down. She agreed to try a simple change. Each morning, a boiled egg with a bowl of porridge or a baked sweet potato instead of just tea. 2 weeks later, she returned with lighter eyes. "I'm not fully steady yet," she smiled, "but when I get out of bed I feel more secure. I can walk around the house without fearing a fall." After a month, she was confident enough to walk to the local market with her daughter and tend to her little garden again. A small shift had opened a new chapter in her life, restoring confidence, independence, and joy. And she is not alone. I once met Mr. Richard, aged 82, living just outside Manchester. He was not wealthy, nor did he use expensive supplements, yet he stood out among men his age, still walking his garden each morning, climbing stairs with ease. When asked his secret, he chuckled. Nothing grand, doctor. I just eat properly in the morning and never let myself go hungry too long. Warm water with a pinch of mineral salt, half a baked sweet potato or a bowl of oats, then a bit of gentle stretching. That's all. And once, when he fell ill and skipped his usual breakfasts, within a single week his legs grew noticeably weaker, trembling each time he stood. That was enough to remind him how crucial breakfast was for older bodies. Another case was Mrs. Elizabeth, 74, living with her granddaughter in a riverside village. For years, she stuck to cold leftovers and bread for breakfast, avoiding any fuss in the kitchen. Recently, she noticed climbing stairs had become difficult, her legs often tingled, and she suffered night cramps. With some encouragement, she swapped her plain meals for soft porridge, added chia seeds, and ate a banana afterwards. At first, she hesitated, thinking it strange. Yet soon, she realized her mornings felt lighter, her legs steadier, and her nights calmer. These are not miracles. They are the result of consistent, gentle self-care each morning. Small choices, a proper breakfast, warm water, simple exercises can truly transform the strength of your legs, the steadiness of your steps, and the confidence of your mind. Not long after making those small adjustments, Mrs. Margaret from London rang me with joy in her voice. Doctor, I can now climb the stairs without pausing halfway. The cramps at night are gone, and I walk around so much more comfortably. Her story is one of many reminders that sometimes the greatest improvements come from the simplest routines. No expensive supplements, no harsh exercise programs, just a steady commitment to a balanced breakfast and gentle daily habits. Eggs, porridge, bananas, baked sweet potatoes, Greek yogurt, salmon or mackerel paired with a glass of warm mineral water. When these are practiced with consistency, the body begins to heal itself, the legs regain their steadiness, and life feels hopeful again. To anyone reading this, if you or a loved one struggle with weak legs, trembling when standing, or fear of falling, start with breakfast tomorrow morning. It doesn't have to be complicated. A boiled egg, a bowl of porridge, some yogurt with chia seeds, a piece of baked sweet potato, or lightly steamed fish. Combine these with a short warm-up, a few balance exercises, and 10 minutes in the morning sun, and you'll notice change day by day. Stronger legs, easier walking, sharper mind, brighter spirit. It is often not the grand gestures that transform health, but the quiet, consistent choices of each day. A proper breakfast is not just food, it is a way of honoring your body, keeping your legs as trusted companions through the later years of life. After over 20 years of caring for older patients across Britain, I have seen countless stories of decline and recovery. And time and again, it is not the costly treatments or the complex therapies that make the difference, but rather the humble habits of daily living. The small rituals, the morning cup of warm water, the gentle stretch before standing, the steady breakfast, these are the true foundations of independence and dignity in later life. Let me walk you through these habits one by one with the lessons I've learned from real patients I've had the privilege to guide. Because each morning when you rise from bed, you deserve not fear or trembling legs, but the quiet confidence that your strength is still with you. The first habit is simple. Drink a glass of warm water with a pinch of natural mineral salt as soon as you wake. After a long night, the aging body quietly loses water through breath and skin. If you fail to replenish it, your muscles, especially in your legs, are left thirsty and sluggish. Many older adults don't even feel thirst as strongly anymore, so waiting until you're thirsty is already too late. That's why I tell my patients, upon waking, sip 200–250 ml of warm water. Add a pinch of unrefined sea salt or Himalayan pink salt if you like. It will awaken your circulation, restore electrolytes, and prepare your muscles for the day ahead. Many of my patients who follow these habits tell me the same thing. Their minds feel sharper in the morning, the stiffness in their calves eases, and getting out of bed becomes far less of a struggle. Such a simple practice has allowed Mr. George, whom I mentioned earlier, to keep his legs strong well into his 80s. Each morning in his home in Manchester, he drinks a glass of warm water with a pinch of mineral salt and stretches gently before moving. Because of this, he rarely suffers from cramps or dizziness when standing up. Second, gentle stretches before leaving the bed. One common reason older adults in Britain experience falls in the morning is that, after a night's sleep, circulation to the limbs slows down, leaving muscles sluggish and unprepared for sudden movement. Jumping up too quickly can easily trigger low blood pressure, dizziness, or loss of balance. That's why I always advise my patients to spend 2 or 3 minutes warming up before getting up. While still sitting or lying down, rotate the ankles and wrists, flex and extend the toes and fingers, or gently bend the knees. Think of it as a polite good morning to your legs. I once asked an elderly gentleman in Liverpool, over 85 but still climbing 2 flights of stairs daily, what his secret was. He smiled and said, "Every morning before my feet touch the floor, I greet my legs with a little stretch. That way they know it's time to carry me through the day." Third, embrace the early sun. Many older people in London and other British cities shy away from sunlight, worrying it might damage their skin. But the morning sun, especially before 8 a.m., is an invaluable natural source of vitamin D, vital for bone and muscle health. Those who lack vitamin D often complain of aching legs, weak bones, or even mild depression without realizing the cause. I recall a community visit near Birmingham where several elderly ladies confessed they couldn't manage the stairs anymore, their legs giving way beneath them. When I asked if they ever sat in the early morning light, almost all said no. After my encouragement, they tried sitting on the porch or walking in their gardens for 15-20 minutes each morning. A month later, when I returned, their steps were firmer and their sleep much improved. Remember, vitamin D cannot be provided in sufficient amounts by food alone. Your body needs sunlight. Just a few minutes of safe morning sun is a lifelong gift to your bones and muscles. Fourth, practice balance exercises. Loss of balance is one of the leading causes of falls and fractures in later life across Britain. Yet balance training doesn't require a gym or special equipment. After breakfast, try something simple. Stand tall, lift one foot slightly off the floor, and hold the position for 10 seconds while lightly holding onto a chair or table. Repeat with the other leg 5 to 10 times. At first you may wobble, but with persistence your stability will improve. I taught this to Mrs. Elena, an 82-year-old from a small town near Oxford. At first she had to grip the chair firmly, her legs trembling. A month later she phoned me excitedly, "Doctor, I can now balance on one leg for over 20 seconds. I'm no longer afraid of falling." That sense of control gave her new confidence to walk outside again and reconnect with friends. Fifth, never skip breakfast. This may sound familiar as I have repeated it many times, but it is worth stressing again. The body runs through its reserves overnight, and the morning is when it needs fresh fuel, especially for the muscles in your legs. Without breakfast, those very muscles are gradually broken down to supply energy, leaving you weaker and unsteady. A proper breakfast doesn't mean an elaborate feast, it simply means balance. A boiled egg or two, a piece of salmon, a spoonful of Greek yogurt, porridge oats, or even a baked sweet potato alongside fresh fruit and vegetables are enough. With this routine, you will notice the difference: firmer legs, less fatigue, and a steadier stride. I recall Mr. William, one of my long-term patients from London, who used to believe breakfast was optional. He often skipped it, convinced it didn't matter. After a serious warning from his doctor, he made the effort to eat each morning an egg, a little porridge, or a slice of whole-grain toast. Soon he found his legs steadier and the fear of falling began to fade. Sixth, get proper sleep. Something people often overlook is the healing power of rest. During deep sleep, the body produces growth hormones that repair tired muscle cells. Many older adults in Britain complain of restless nights or waking too often, which leaves them drained and shaky in the morning. I always advise creating a calm evening routine. Go to bed and wake up at regular times, avoid late-night tea or coffee, and keep the evening meal light. A warm glass of milk, soft music, or even listening to a bit of English classical music before sleep can make all the difference. Good sleep is the foundation that allows all your other healthy habits to work. Seventh, check your legs regularly. Beyond daily habits, it's vital to monitor your leg strength at home. Try standing up and sitting down 10 times without using your arms, or walk around the garden for 5 to 10 minutes. Pay attention to any unusual pain, swelling, or persistent fatigue. If you notice anything concerning, aching calves, numbness, or swelling, seek medical advice sooner rather than later. Early attention can prevent serious complications and help you keep your independence. My dear friends, by the time we reach our later years, each morning feels more precious. You become more aware of every heartbeat, every breath, and every step. From decades in medicine, I've learned that health is rarely a matter of chance. It is the reward of small, deliberate acts of care and love for oneself, repeated daily. The greatest lesson I wish to pass on is this: never underestimate the power of small morning habits. Weak legs don't happen overnight simply because of age. They often result from neglecting meals, skipping breakfast, or failing to nourish and move the body properly. So when you wake and feel your legs trembling, don't just blame age or the weather. Take it as a gentle warning, a signal that your body is asking for change. Relying only on a quick black coffee isn't enough. It leaves the body starving, forcing it to burn its own muscle fibers for energy. And the first to go are the muscles in your legs, the very foundation of your freedom and independence. Loss of muscle happens quietly, without pain, without warning. By the time you notice, your legs are weaker, rising from a chair feels harder, and walking becomes uncertain. But the good news is this: decline is not inevitable. With the right attention, especially a balanced breakfast, you can slow, prevent, and even reverse the process, keeping your legs strong for years to come. Sometimes all it takes is something as simple as a boiled egg, a bowl of porridge oats, a few slices of baked sweet potato, a spoonful of Greek yogurt, or a piece of salmon to make a remarkable difference to your muscle strength. Studies in the UK and across Europe have shown that when older adults eat a balanced breakfast within 30 to 60 minutes of waking, and keep this habit consistently, they can regain up to 35% of their leg strength in just a few weeks. These foods, modest and affordable though they may seem, quietly support the body each day, strengthening the legs, restoring confidence, and helping older people live independently and joyfully. Alongside this, I have learned that other small but steady habits matter just as much. Drinking a glass of warm water with a pinch of mineral salt, stretching the arms and legs before leaving bed, taking in the soft morning sun for natural vitamin D, and practicing simple balance exercises daily. Each of these actions adds another layer of protection, resilience, and confidence to your steps. Do not wait until after a fall to start thinking about your legs. Do not wait until the wheelchair feels like the only option before you regret the little habits you once dismissed. The message I want to share with every gentleman and lady here in London and beyond is this: caring for your legs begins in your own kitchen, with a nourishing breakfast and with the simplest of morning routines. Health, freedom, and dignity in later life do not come from luxury or expense, but from respecting yourself and repeating the right choices each day. Old age is at its most beautiful when you still have command of your steps, when you can laugh with friends, enjoy time with family, and inspire your grandchildren and neighbors with your independence. And remember, all of this lies within your hands. With small changes, patiently sustained day by day, you will feel a great transformation: steadier legs, lighter steps, brighter spirits, and a life in your later years that is calm, meaningful, and deeply worth living. So tomorrow morning, when the sun rises over Manchester or London, let your very first act of the day be a gift to yourself. A simple, balanced breakfast, and with it, the promise of stronger legs, freer steps, and a happier life. Dear friends, remember, every small step towards a healthy breakfast and stronger legs is also a step towards freedom, dignity, and joy in later life. If you found this message helpful, don't forget to subscribe to VN Health in OLD and turn on the notification bell so we can continue walking this journey of health, strength, and independence together.